Hey guys, here's another quick tutorial, and this one is for flying pigeon, so another arm balance, and I'm super excited to share it with you. And I'm going to show you how to come into the pose from a figure four chair. But two things before we get started. One, as with all my other tutorials, this video is going to be super short, super sweet, super to the point, mainly cues with a few tips and tricks sprinkled in along the way. Second of all, make sure you open up your hips a lot before you start playing with this pose. Just like pigeon and just like figure four chair, flying pigeon is a deep hip opener. So make sure you give your hips the time to warm up, either through a nice passive stretching flow or through a more active flow. But just like I said, make sure you take that time to warm up your hips. It's going to make the pose a lot more accessible and a lot easier. Okay? But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And like I said, I'm going to start in my figure four chair. So I'm going to pick up my right foot. I'm going to start with the right side and drape my right ankle over my left thigh. And from here, what I'm going to do is, well, I'm going to move my hair out of my way so you can see, is I'm going to plant my hands down on the mat, shoulder width distance apart here, okay? And before I do anything else, I'm going to take my right toes and wrap them around my left tricep. So by doing that, it makes the pose a lot more stable and makes it a lot easier to keep yourself in the pose once you come down in the arm balance. And you can do one of two things. You can wrap your toes around before you start the arm balance, or you can begin to shift your weight around in the arm balance and wrap your toes around that way. So I like to wrap my toes around first, so that way I don't have to do a lot of finagling once I get into the pose. And from here, my hands are shoulder width distance apart on the mat. I'm going to begin to shift my weight forward, and I can either scoot this left foot back a little bit, or I can walk my hands out in front of me, a palm's width distance, and begin to shift my weight forward even more. Because what you want to do is you want to bend your elbows to chaturanga arms here, and you want your right shin to come rest on your elbows here. So your right toes are wrapped around your left tricep, and your right knee is resting on your right elbow. So your shin is coming parallel with your mat here, the weight is distributed evenly between your two arms. And what you do is you begin to shift your weight and gaze forward here. Left knee still pressing into that right ankle. And you can stay here with your left toes on the mat for as long as you want. And I'll rotate around so you can see now. Or what you can do is you can lift your left toes up off the mat actively by bending that left knee here. Okay? You can also passively lift up your left toes, because as you begin to shift your weight and your gaze forward, your toes begin to roll up off the mat and want to lift up as your weight go forward. And from this position, there's two ways to come out of the pose. One, you can plant your left toes down the mat, shift your weight back, figure four chair or figure four forward fold. Or, from your flying pigeon, you can bring your toes down to the mat and just lower your shin down onto the mat and come into a little bit of a seated position. Your feet are already kind of set up right here for half floor of the fisher, so it'd be really easy to take it back into that twist if you wanted to. Now there is a third way to come out of the pose, and that's falling forward. And I know that's not a super fun way, so that's why I showed you those two ways. But if you're afraid of falling forward, because you're new to the pose, or because you're still trying to figure out the pose, please put something soft down on the mat in front of you, a bolster, a pillow, a blanket, just anything to soften your fall, okay? And now I'm just gonna go ahead and show you on the left side what it would look like. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my left leg, pick up my left ankle, drape my left ankle over my right thigh, plant my hands down the mat, shoulder width distance apart, and I'm gonna wrap my left toes around my right tricep. And I like to walk my hands out in front of me as I lean forward. I don't know why, but that's just how my body prefers to do it. But it'll gaze out in front of me, shift my weight forward, and lift my right foot up off the mat. Good, and you can stay here for as long as you want or need to, okay? Keeping this right knee tucked in, or with time, you can begin to extend your right leg out, coming into the full variation of the pose. Now, if your right leg's out, you can bring your right toes down on the mat, lower your right shin down on the mat, and come into a seated position that way. Or you can come out this on your left side, the same exact way we came out on the right side, by lowering those right toes down on the mat, lowering your right shin down, coming into a comfortable seated position, or walking your way back up towards your figure four chair and alternately landing there, or taking it into your figure four forward fold. You can also fall forward, but try to avoid that way. So yeah, that is flying pigeon. One big tip, trick, cue that I have for when it comes to extending that back leg out is make sure you warm up those hamstrings first. That's the really big key. And also, as you extend that back leg out, make sure you're still pressing your front shin, your front leg, so in that instance, my left leg, into my elbows. And then you press and extend that right leg out, making a very mindful action of extending that right leg out, really concentrating on that while you're still concentrating on pressing your left leg into your arms so you can stay balanced. Also, try to lift that right leg as high away from the mat as you can, because the lower that right leg is towards the ground, the easier it's going to be for your body just to shift your weight down to the mat and you to fall out of the pose. So try to shoot your right leg out or press your leg out on a diagonal towards the sky, okay? And another thing, it can be really uncomfortable on your arms in this pose. And it's more uncomfortable on your upper triceps because you have something, if you're bonier, you have a really bony knee and a really bony shin and a really bony ankle pressing into your elbows. And that just makes it really uncomfortable and pressing into your triceps. And I do not have any tips or tricks or cues to help prevent that other than just do the pose, get used to it being uncomfortable, maybe desensitize your elbows and your triceps a little bit to that pressure and to that weight by doing the pose multiple times or trying different arm balances. But I really, and I feel bad about it, but I really do not have any tips or tricks to help you not feel that weight if you have bonier arms or bonier legs. So yeah, that's just a warning. Also, regardless if your legs are bony or not, it might feel like a heck of a lot of pressure, okay? I know personally my knee is very bony, especially my left knee, because I had surgery on it, and it's just kind of a mess. And so I wish I had a tip and trick to help you get away from that extra, all that weight and all that pressure, but I really don't. So just know that it can be uncomfortable, okay? And I'm sorry about that. But yeah, that's it. That's my tutorial. I hope this video helps you with your arm balance practice. I hope it helps you conquer flying pigeon, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.